My husky stopped walking and wouldn't move. When I saw what she was staring at, my heart broke. But what she did next changed everything. Not all heroes wear capes. Some have fur and four legs. This is the story of how my husky Artemis found a dying puppy thrown away like garbage and decided right then and there that he was hers. What happened over the next few weeks taught me more about love, purpose, and family than I ever expected. This is their story. A husky named Artemis discovers an abandoned golden retriever puppy in a trash bin at a construction site and immediately takes him under her protection. What follows is a beautiful story of healing, motherhood, and the family we choose. Watch as Artemis transforms from protector to mother, and a broken puppy named Phoenix learns to trust and love again. If this story touched your heart, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this. Drop a comment below and tell me about a time an animal changed your life. I read every single one. I wasn't looking for anything that morning, just doing what I always did, walking Artemis past the construction site near our apartment. The air was thick with dust. You could taste it. Machines grinding, workers yelling over the noise, metal crashing against metal like it always does. Artemis stayed a few steps ahead of me, her ears moving, taking it all in. She's always been like that, calm, steady, knows where she's going. Then she stopped. Not the usual kind of stop where she sniffs something interesting. This was different. She froze completely. Her whole body went stiff. Ears up. Eyes locked on something I couldn't see yet. A trash bin shoved against a busted chain link fence. I called her name. She didn't even turn her head. That's when I felt it. Something was wrong. I walked closer, slower now, and that's when I heard it. Faint, almost buried under all the construction noise. A cry, small, weak. Like whatever was making it had already used up most of its strength just trying to be heard. My stomach tightened. I didn't know what it was yet, but I knew I had to look. I stepped closer and looked inside the bin. My heart dropped. A tiny golden retriever puppy was curled at the bottom, shaking, covered in dirt, eyes wide and terrified. He looked up at me like he couldn't understand how the world got this cruel this fast. His little body trembled. He was so small, too small to be out here alone. Too small to survive this. Before I could even reach for him, Artemis moved. She didn't bark, didn't jump or pull. She just leaned in, slow and careful, like she knew exactly what she was doing. Then she licked his face. Once, soft. The puppy stopped crying. Just like that. Stopped. He blinked up at her, still shaking, but quiet now, like something inside him finally relaxed. Like he knew somehow that he wasn't alone anymore, that someone saw him, that someone cared. I stood there for a second watching them. Artemis stayed close to the edge of the bin, her nose almost touching his. Calm, protective. She wasn't leaving him. And honestly, neither was I. I reached down, hands shaking a little, and lifted him out. When I reached in to lift him out, Artemis pressed closer to the bin. Not aggressive, just protective. She looked at me, then down at the puppy, then back at me again. Her eyes said everything. This wasn't just some rescue we stumbled on. She had chosen him already. I lifted him carefully. He fit in my hands, barely weighing anything. His fur was matted and damp, and he smelled like garbage and fear. He didn't fight me, just tucked himself against my chest like he'd been waiting for someone to hold him. Mrs. Gable from next door came over, wiping her hands on her apron. She shook her head, muttering something about people being heartless, throwing away a living thing like trash. I nodded but didn't really hear her. My attention was on Artemis. She ignored Mrs. Gable completely. She was already busy licking the puppy again, cleaning his ears, his face, the dirt crusted around his paws. Gentle, focused, like she'd been waiting her whole life to do exactly this. The puppy leaned into her, eyes half closed now, finally breathing steady. And I knew right then, we weren't taking him to a shelter. He was already home. I wrapped the puppy in my jacket and we walked home slow, real slow. Artemis stayed right beside him the whole way, her nose brushing against the bundle in my arms every few steps. When he went quiet, she nudged him gently, like she was making sure he was still breathing, making sure he was still there. At home, she wouldn't leave his side. I set him down on a soft blanket near the couch. He was so tired he could barely keep his eyes open. I put out some water and a little bit of food, just enough for his tiny stomach. Artemis watched him drink, watched him take a few shaky bites, watched him curl up and finally close his eyes. She laid down right next to him, close, protective. I named him Phoenix that night because he came from something ugly and broken, left in the trash like he didn't matter. And somehow he was still here, still breathing, still fighting. Artemis stayed awake all night. I know because I didn't sleep either. Every time I checked on them, she was there, eyes open, watching over him, like she'd made a promise, and she wasn't going to break it. The days after that were full of worry and hope all tangled together. Phoenix was so small, so weak. The vet said he was malnourished, dehydrated, probably only a few weeks old. But Artemis didn't need a vet to tell her what to do. She acted like she was responsible for keeping the whole world alive now. If Phoenix sneezed, she jumped up. If he whimpered in his sleep, she was right there, licking his head until he settled. She walked beside him when he stumbled around the apartment on shaky legs, like she was spotting him, making sure he didn't fall. Mrs. Gable stopped by every afternoon with advice and little treats. She'd sit on the couch, shaking her head and smiling, watching Artemis hover over Phoenix like a nervous mother. Slowly, Phoenix started finding his strength. His eyes got brighter. His steps got steadier. And one morning I saw it. His tail wagged. Just a little flutter at first, then stronger. Artemis saw it too. She sat back for the first time in days just watching him. Her body relaxed, her eyes softened. And that night she finally let herself rest. Really rest. Like she knew he was going to be okay now. Weeks passed and the house felt different. Louder, warmer, more alive. Phoenix followed Artemis everywhere. And I mean everywhere. If she walked to the kitchen, he was right behind her, his little paws pattering on the floor. If she laid down, he curled up next to her. He copied everything she did. The way she sat, the way she drank water, one careful lap at a time. The way she tilted her head when she heard something outside. When he got scared, a loud truck passing by, a door slamming, he didn't run to me. He buried his face in her fur, and she let him. Every single time. She'd shift her body just enough to cover him more, keep him close, let him know it was safe. I'd catch her watching him sleep sometimes, just sitting there, eyes soft, staring down at this tiny golden ball of fur tucked against her side. There was something in her face I didn't expect from a dog. Pride, maybe, or love, the kind that doesn't need words. She'd saved him. And somehow, I think he'd saved something in her, too. They weren't just living together anymore. They were family. One evening, I sat on the floor between them, my knees aching from being down there too long. Phoenix was chewing on a toy. Artemis was stretched out beside him, calm, watchful like always. Mrs. Gable had stopped by earlier with some soup. She stood in the doorway for a minute, just watching the two of them together. Then she said it, quiet but sure. That husky didn't just save that puppy. That puppy saved her too. I didn't say anything back, just nodded, but her words stuck with me. I thought about it later that night after she left. Artemis had always been strong, always the protector, always the one who knew what to do. But she'd been alone too. Just me and her. And maybe that was enough before. But now she had something that needed her. Something that looked at her like she was the whole world. Phoenix wasn't just her puppy, he was her reason. And watching them together, the way she leaned into him when he got close, the way her eyes softened every time he looked up at her, I realized Mrs. Gable was right. They'd saved each other. Now they run the house together. Phoenix is bigger now, full of joy and energy, bouncing around like the world owes him nothing but good things. Artemis is calmer these days, wiser, still watching over him, but not as frantic anymore. She trusts him now, trusts that he's strong enough. They sleep curled up together every night, bodies wrapped around each other like they share one heart. Sometimes I just sit there and watch them, and I can't help but think about that trash bin near the construction site. How close I came to walking right past it. How easy it would have been to miss him completely. I'm glad Artemis didn't let me. Some families are born. You don't get to choose them. They just are. But others are chosen. And that day, my Husky chose to be a mother. And a little golden puppy, broken and scared and thrown away, chose to live. They chose each other. And I got to be part of it. Please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss another story like this.